Hello, and welcome back to Belonging Songs, your weekly podcast that brings you a brand new original song each episode, then talks about the themes of that song and the processes that went into writing and recording it. I am your host, Wade Dana. With me, as always, my good friends, Patrick Crane.
It's been 4 days, and we have not slept.
And Brad Maurer.
How you doing?
Yeah, this is our very first part 2 of an episode. We're trying it out, see how it goes.
I didn't have a choice, really.
Yeah.
This thing was turning into The Godfather.
Part 3.
Part 3, we'll try to avoid that. So yeah, the saga continues. And how do you feel about that, Patrick?
Well, I feel good. I think the biggest thing is we've been talking about this song a lot behind the scenes. And I'm excited to get some new material out there. So it's sort of becoming a bit of a beast, but I think the whole idea is to make this song as good as it can be. And for the record, I still love this song. I love everything new that's become of it. I still get it in my head every now and then, but I'm excited to see it come to an end because I'm ready to write new stuff.
I struggle with the same thing because I always have a hard time. Sometimes if I get something and it's 3/4 of the way done, I won't ever finish it because creating is a lot more fun than finishing.
But the point of this podcast is to finish them. And
Exactly
I'm glad that you
right.
mentioned that you still are into it because Brad and I have talked behind the scenes too. We're like, I don't know, Patrick, he gets a little, seems like he's almost over this song. And I know you want to move on.
We're getting there.
But
But
like
I still
we said,
love the song.
The whole point of being able to move on to do new stuff is to finish the stuff.
Correct.
that
And
you
that's
started
the
in
whole
the first
reason
place,
this thing
yeah.
started, right? Because we had a lot of loose ends and we're like, we need to force ourselves to finish things. And you have the benefit of doing that from the conception of the song,
Right.
rather than it being, 10 years from now.
Yep.
And you still have half of Leaving Home sitting there and you're just
Right.
like, I don't know if it's right. It's good to get it done. Then it's so much easier to move on and create something different.
That's something
Right.
also Brad and I have talked about behind your back is
Yeah.
him and I have, 20 years of going through this and telling each other like, I don't like it.
Well, it takes
or-
a couple
or whatever. And like,
that takes years.
Yeah.
Like a creative respect. Wade and I, when we first met, didn't say much to each other, and we produced a lot of subpar stuff because of it.
What else have you been saying behind my back?
we'll get to it. We'll get to it.
Part 3 is real. That's when that thing's really going to come to a head.
But no, I think the process has been really good. It's hard to be patient with it, and it's hard to, even though we're working on new stuff, it's I guess revisits are tough. It's a struggle, and you just get sick of looking at the same page after a while.
I've said to Brad, we were talking about this last night in preparation for this. I have done edits on this song on our previous listens. You guys had said, go ahead and do the edits. And I did. And you guys have heard it. Like,
Right.
This isn't going to be the first time you're hearing it here on the podcast because
Right.
we've kind of decided, especially with this song, and this was kind of what caused us to...
All the cards are going to be face up now.
we need to be able to hear it while we're working on it and get the process going. And I think that this has been a good experience for you, Patrick, to not only receive the criticism, but then be able to counter it. Your personality is you want to please people. You want people to be happy, most all the time.
Sure.
And you're like a famous person in our friend circle for being like overbooking yourself because you don't want to let anybody down.
Sure.
And I think that in the songwriting process, that could also happen, where you could let us kind of tell you what we think the song should be when, you've told me this on previous songs, like, it's your song. You can tell us to,
Right.
This is how I want it, and this is how it's going to be, regardless of what we think.
Well, my comment to Brad is your version is probably going to be a potential charting song, whereas what I like is going to sell one copy. That's the problem.
And it's up
I
to
have
you, though, because it's
one
your
copy
song.
sold.
Yeah.
I do. Yeah.
I didn't
So,
produce that.
Welcome to the club, bud.
Brad's our highest selling artist on the show.
But I think all of the conversation and the fact that it's a two-parter is a big testament to the song.
Oh, absolutely.
Because it means that there's a really
if we didn't care about it, this
Right.
episode would have been over a long time ago.
It's got three people that are really passionate about its direction and where it lands.
So I in no way want to give the impression that I'm not thankful for the attention to it. I am eternally grateful. The fact that it was even received, because I thought I was going to come to both of you guys. We talked about it. I was embarrassed to even start writing music because I got nothing, but I made something.
I disagree, but
It's also, as you and Wade have both talked about, it's really hard to put your art out
behind your back.
No.
Yeah, we'll get to that.
We've talked about it.
Yeah.
It is. It's hard. It makes you vulnerable in a way that and you're really when you put a lot of effort and time and it's really deep exposure.
Yeah, it is deep exposure, and I'm also, I think, a little more hesitant too because this song was co-written. Because Brad had a definite part in writing a big chunk of this song, and so you're not only putting it out there for yourself, but also for Buddy. So it's a tough process.
Yeah,
and I did spend quite a bit of time working on this as well. So I feel like I have some claim on it when I really don't.
No, we all do.
But
That's the podcast,
that's how the
right?
process
We
is.
all
You
are
do.
taking
Yeah,
even the stuff I haven't written. I feel some kind of the stuff I haven't written.
yeah.
Hashtag Roten.
Get it right.
When we give feedback or I give feedback and you guys go back and make changes based on it, I feel some ownership for that too. Because if it doesn't work, it doesn't work. And if it does, I'm like, oh yeah, glad I did it. So,
Because of you, right?
yeah.
That's the entire point. Is all of these songs that we're writing throughout this process would be completely different if it was just us with no feedback. When you were going to go right and somebody was like, hey, try going left.
Yeah.
You end up on an entirely different path.
And I
it's-
think all these songs are turning out better because
Right.
Correct.
And it's that other thing of why are you guys still fussing about this? Because obviously I have apprehensions. It's like, move on. But no, you guys care about it. So
that's it. And that's why, like, in the earlier part of whatever it's going to end up being, when we first played this song, granted it was fresh, I got real passionate in defense of it.
Right.
Just because I was like, no, like, actually, I know what this thing can
now
be.
you're like, I worked for 3 days. Well, I've worked for over 3 days on it now. So.
yeah, so stop trying to one up.
Well, yeah.
We should listen to the
days.
intro like 6 times to know.
Yeah.
So
Listeners should probably know a story. Before we recorded this follow-up, we went out and grabbed a burger at a local bar that had a band that played for, no joke, 1 hour of intros to the same song while the radio was playing. It was an amazing set.
It was awesome.
Apparently was their sound check.
It was awesome.
And the bass player was not happy with the lighting.
No, but also note to self, don't send the bass player in the crowd to check sound because the bass is going to be hot.
Yeah.
Fucking loud bass.
The lights. The lights was my favorite thing.
Yeah.
I mean, they played the intro to the same song over and over again, then would stop. And a couple times I was like, oh, well, this must be it.
This is
'Cause they got a little louder.
You mean when they turned the radio off that one time and they were like, oh, well, I guess the band's playing now. And then they're like, oh, no, we're
They
not.
stopped like,
No,
oh,
we're
well,
not.
I think that the hi-hat's a little hot.
Yeah.
And and meanwhile, everybody there
Yeah.
is it's like, what is going on?
Yeah, what was
Like,
the-
are they going to play
Yeah,
or not?
this is their fucking live at Donington.
Can you guys shut up?
And this is not a place people go to hear music.
It's a burger joint.
It's a burger joint.
Can you turn the crowd down?
So
Everybody's just sitting out here having a conversation, all nonchalant.
hopefully they've gotten through the song by now.
I don't think so.
I
don't think they have.
I think they're still sound checking. They probably got new instruments coming in.
So, but we're going to go ahead and get through another listen of Leaving Home. Now, this version, this is an interesting episode because you guys have heard this, so we kind of already know what we're going to talk about. So this is the mix and edit that I did. So the last time we listened to it, I had made points about some things that I thought should happen in the song or what I was hearing, and you said go ahead and do the edit. So I did, but then I mixed it all and sent it back to you guys, and that's when we decided.
Did
in
you mix this
podcast-
behind my back?
I did.
That's what the best part is, though. Like, I think the song's going to land in a really good spot because it was, okay, here we are.
Yeah.
And we went all in on our ideas. And then Patrick was good enough to go, hey, why don't you go in, Wade, on all of your ideas and see what you bring. And then we're going to have this compromise of both sides. I think it's going to land somewhere nice.
Yeah, so let's give it a listen.
Oh,
And-
God.
Yeah, turn your headphones down.
This old thing?
Last episode, we almost went deaf by not turning.
You
your
guys will
headphones.
love this.
It's
fucking
muted.
muted.
God. All I
right.
wanted to hear was the intro.
Is there an option to make the mute button bigger?
No.
No. All right, this time for real.
Oh.
I'm sorry I said the things I said. I was overwhelmed and underfed. I'm haunted by the image of an old friend and the life he had that came and went. I cannot see what the universe hides. The nebulous fade and the stars take their time. I guess I'll find out if it's true or what they say. I'd like a little more time. Another 10 years, another 10 days. Would be nice. He left more than I'll ever have, and the guilt is stronger with every breath. The shape of her face makes her tear tracks follow the same lines as the stress. She says goodbye for the final time. Just one more night would be nice.
All right. Woo! All right. Again, this is an interesting situation because I already know your response and know what's coming next.
But let's start here, though. What's Were you going to say something?
I was, but I want to hear you go first.
I had a general statement where the easiest thing to do is to pull out all the things that we liked about that version.
Yeah, that's actually a really good idea.
Yeah.
I, no joke, fucking love the mix.
Yeah.
The mix is mind-blowingly good. Nice job.
Thank you.
I think the way
I was so excited to show this to you guys that I called you like impromptu on like a random night and made you guys FaceTime with me and then sat in silence while you guys listened to the song with headphones on,
watching our faces.
while watching your faces.
But to be completely fair, I sat in silence for about 30 minutes because I couldn't get my Sonos Play 5 to connect.
But that's awesome because that's exactly how like we felt when we had the song done,
And
right?
that's what I really was hoping to recapture for you guys because I know that this has been kind of a long slog.
Yeah.
And during the process, you guys were so excited. And then when I started critiquing it, I know like you had mentioned, like you got a little defensive.
Yep.
And there was that whole period of like, what the hell? But then you
Yeah.
listen to the feedback. It's like, well, it wasn't that
Not
bad.
that bad, but
So
yeah.
then I started working on it and I was getting excited for you guys because I was like, I hope that when they hear it, it takes
what
them
they
back
wanted. Yeah.
to like, oh, this is what it
and it
could
did.
sound like.
So what's interesting, maybe it's not interesting, for me it's interesting. I've listened to this mix in my car, I've listened to it at home, I've listened to it through PC speakers. I have not yet listened to it through headphones, which usually the first time I go through any of our stuff, it's through headphones.
Yeah.
I originally gave you some feedback that I didn't like the bass drum on this mix. That was one production note. I think it sounds much better through headphones.
Okay.
So that's probably a fun...
Probably something that maybe still needs a little work though if it didn't translate through all those other
Right. But I don't think
mediums.
we need to change the kit. I don't think we need to change
just
the
maybe
kick
a little
drum, which
EQ and stuff.
I think it's good. I think it might just need to be mixed a little bit. The other thing is I forgot, because of your mix, you brought it out. I forgot a couple of the guitar parts we laid down that are in the background. I'm like, oh shit,
He brought them up.
that sounds good.
Yeah.
There's that harmonic part that I forgot
Yep.
we added in there. That came through a little bit better. Yeah, go ahead, Brad.
That's what I had in mind when I said I wanted to talk about the things I liked about it, because the way I originally had everything blended was obviously not the best way, right? And there was things that when we laid them down that they had always been kind of quiet in the
And get
mix,
buried a little
and when
bit.
when you start there, that's where they land,
Right.
you know. So rather than bring them up, you're like, oh no, that wasn't meant. When I was mixing, like, oh, that wasn't meant to be high,
Right.
Yeah.
and you came in with like a completely different perspective, not having been in the room.
Right.
So you're just like, well, actually, that sounds nice. I'm going to bring it up. I'm going to do this. There's a lot of guitars on this song.
Yeah, there's
Yeah.
like 8 or 9 guitar tracks.
Oh, I know.
There's a
Because
shitload.
I had to deal with them.
Yeah. And so, like, I mean, those harmony guitars, I mean, is there 6?
There's like
I like the
at
lead part.
least because I wanted to say there was 8.
There might be 6 and then 4 keyboards matching it.
Yeah.
Right.
Okay.
And so, like, trying to blend all that shit is a task, and it doesn't sound too thick.
Yeah.
So
and
here's a question for you. Is this something we've been talking a lot about recently? You've had time to listen to this a few times. Do you think you would have had that reaction if this were the first time you were hearing? Or did you have that reaction the first time you heard the mix?
On the mix?
Yeah, where you're like,
I did.
I like
Yeah.
the
Oh,
guitars
yeah.
and
Yes,
stuff.
Yeah.
I did. Absolutely. The one negative that he and I both share, and we did it separately, was the arrangement, which is what
Right. Yeah,
we'll
we'll get
talk
into that
about
in
in
a
a minute. But the mix self, or on its own by itself, is the way the song needs to land.
Yep.
Cool.
Absolutely. 100%.
Yeah, I had no doubt about the mix the first time I heard it.
Okay, now let's talk about the arrangement, because my big issue with the original version was after the main riff there, you had a lot of slow down parts. The song as a whole, I thought, started and stopped and slowed down in a lot of places. And I was pushing for the riff. Essentially, that main riff is the chorus of the song. 'Cause you don't really have a traditional vocal chorus. So that guitar riff is the chorus of the song, and I wanted more of it. So I repeated it each time, or the first 2 times it happens, I repeated it. And I know you guys, since we've talked, that's not something you guys like.
I don't like it. Why I don't like it is I think that's the hook of the song, if there is a hook.
That's my argument for repeating
Right.
it.
And this is two philosophically opposed ideas.
Mm-hmm.
I think you need to leave, to my ear, you need to leave the listener wanting more of that, but not giving it to them. I think it's really effective how hooky it is,
Mm-hmm.
and you only get it a little bit in the original arrangement. Now, I think if we halved it, if we took a compromise, it probably translates better. But what I don't like about it, I think it repeats 4 times or so, is it's probably
it repeats once. Like the first section of it, which I guess you're saying it kind of happens twice in the
yeah.
Well, I think he's talking about throughout the
whole
song
Right.
itself.
Okay,
Right.
Yeah.
Actually, let's go back to your point of it playing back to back, looping.
So what I did, just so the BSers get an idea, you had the riff happen,
Yep.
and then you had a long decay
2
guitar
measures.
thing.
Yep.
So I repeated the riff, but then retained some of that tailing off guitar,
Yeah.
and it ended at the same spot.
Yeah, and I like what you did as far as getting rid of that pause, which I didn't think I was going to, because Brad and I wrote that in very purposefully into the song. I think you're right. I think it works better without it and having it in the background. I think the dun, 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 I think it's too catchy to be as repetitive as it is back to back to back. In fact, if we're going to stretch it out that long, I'd almost rather go back and transpose it somewhere in the 3rd or 4th measure of it, or just cut it in half and have it repeat twice. Dun, 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 and do that twice, and then it's done.
Yeah, I tend to agree with that. I think there's 2 arguments for a good chorus. One is it's something that you just can't get enough of it and just play the shit out of it in the song.
Bad medicine.
Right? What I like, the ones that I love are the ones that make me hit the back button.
Yep.
Right? Because I didn't get enough of it the first time through, and I want to go back and listen to the song again.
And that's what I'm saying. This is the kind of riff. In fact, when I wrote that riff, I was like, shit, I want to hit the back button.
Yeah. I hit the back button. I'm like, play that again. Like, what is that?
So I don't know.
I already know, like, we're not going to land on the same part. Like,
No,
there's nothing that you're
no.
going to say that's going to change my mind, and there's nothing I'm going to say that's
I think you're a nice person.
right.
Yes.
So you're saying you want the back button. I'm saying I gave it to you in the song.
Right. But
And we're just not gonna
it's
land
which
on the
one's
same
better.
spot, right.
Yeah, which one's better is
Yep.
entirely up to each listener and what they prefer or what they don't even know that
But
they prefer.
it's your song. So,
Right.
like you've told me during the You're Gone episode, to quote Patrick, you can tell me to fuck off.
Right.
That's exactly the position you're in now. Like,
Yep.
it's your song. It doesn't
I
matter
wanna-
what I think.
I want to hear it both ways. I know
Yeah.
it's a pain in the ass to rearrange it, but if this were published tomorrow, I'd be fine with it.
Mhm.
I don't know if I'm 100% there yet, and that might change, but I've listened to this version probably 20 times now, 30 times maybe.
But another part of Wade's argument earlier on, and you actually just said it again, was the start stop kind of roller coastery kind of feel.
Yeah.
And so the concession there was did a couple of global edits and pulled everything together tighter
Right.
and tried to get the thing to drive through,
Which I think it does.
which
It
we
does.
did, right? And so we kind of shortened the song as a whole, and you have the 2 short choruses, and then at the end it's just fireworks kind of thing. Because
well, you're talking about the next edit.
I'm talking about the next edit. Yeah, like
Right.
what we did. That's I'm kind of I'm kind of transitioning a little bit.
Oh, I
guess.
see what you're
don't-
doing there. You're making good radio.
I don't know if you're ready to do that yet. I'm not the host of shit. but
No, we can go there, but
So-
I think that
but
I don't know if it was clear.
yeah, no. But what I was trying to tie it together because of the way we did it was
So
because
you guys
of what
listened to this,
Yep.
and still were like, I don't know.
Yeah,
and
but-
then Brad, you sent me, or you guys talked.
We
Yeah.
talked behind your back a little
Yeah,
bit. about
exactly.
it.
But also, what we did though is we took the parts of the song that you did that we liked. We just consolidated them. What we liked most about the first version, we combined it with what we liked most about your version, and hopefully that's the best song.
Right.
Agreeing with Patrick and agreeing with you, if people just want to fucking,
But we disagree.
We do.
well, no, but
I want to make that clear.
But if people just want, no, you agree that if people
no,
just
you agree.
listen,
I will fucking
no,
tell you.
No, I'm sorry. You're not sorry. I'm sorry.
I'm a people pleaser, and I will please people.
You're not sorry. I'm sorry.
Fucking shit. I'm gonna drink this whiskey.
Any,
It's good whiskey.
where the fuck was I, Patrick?
You guys are going to wake Uncle Dave up.
Uncle Dave's been sleeping for 10 days.
Wait, it's 8 o'clock on a Saturday. That guy is not getting up.
Yeah, he started at
Yeah,
8.
that's right.
You should hold a mirror to his.
But I think the process
Mm-hmm.
it was beneficial for the song. So you taking it and you going extreme to here's what I love. Right. Did you just sing the beginning of it?
Yeah, that's
he's
what you
more
get.
of
I'll do it 6 more times.
Brad's more of an outro guy.
Yeah, I am definitely an out. If they were there just playing outros, I would still fucking be there. Not a problem. You know? Can you just take me out again?
Have you ever met an interlude guy?
No. No.
You're looking at one. I once wrote a song called Interlude, okay? Instrumental.
That's right. Favorite part was the bridge. Just play the bridge.
It was all bridge.
I was tripping balls on interludes.
People on interludes should not drive.
It's true.
I was on Interlude 75 heading south. Okay, where were we? We're talking
Brad, I
about
think,
this
was making an actual legitimate
We got
point.
off on a
yeah.
tangent.
Well, I've completely forgotten what it was.
It was something about two things,
We're talking about compromising our
Right.
two wrong things making a right is what we were talking about, right?
I think that's how ethics work.
right. So but we found the song has a destiny, and I'm pretty convinced, even though like I get tired of working on them, the song wants to be somewhere, and if you're not content with the song the way it is, then it's not there yet.
Right.
And it's up to the person writing it to determine when it's there.
Yeah.
So if Patrick, like you said, if he were to have heard the version that you played, he would know, it would click. He would go, that
Here's
is there.
the fucking problem, though, and you've been through this too. I trust this guy to my left. I trust his production ear.
Yeah.
And so it's a tug of war of my ear versus
Well,
his.
Yeah, but that's
this
not gonna
is
solve
also
an arra-
something you have to ask yourself, especially about this song. Who's the audience? Are you writing this? This is something we talked about, and you gave me the same advice.
Yep.
Are you writing this song for
Don't take my own
yourself
advice.
or for other people to listen to?
This song was written for myself.
Because that's what I was going to get to, because I have a feeling after all this work and back and forth that maybe this song has an audience of 1 or 2, ultimately. Not that you don't want other people to hear
Right.
it, but what's more important to you is, this is
The
your first
expression.
song for the
Yeah.
project. It's
Right.
your expression. And, it maybe could have saved me some time. If we were- had we determined that
Do you have-
initially.
Do you have Venmo? I'll pay you for your time.
$18.
So I think, and this is a learning experience for us.
All of us.
It's a learning experience for Wade never to take my music.
Well, just to get some good notes first.
No,
right?
I think that it was a failure on my part not to push harder to find out who the audience for this song was. I think that's something we need to ask ourselves very honestly every time we do this with a new song.
But it's
Especially if you're going to start getting critique and feedback on it.
well,
In changing and
yeah, but
considering changes.
I don't think any song is ever written for an audience
Correct.
one. I mean, sure, there's catharsis, but
Mm-hmm.
there's a reason you work in a medium that's able to be heard by others.
Well,
right?
we recently did an episode. I can't. They all kind of blend together for me now.
Don't say
the
that.
narrator will tell us.
But
In just 4 days, on an all-new, exciting episode of Belonging Songs, you'll hear the song that is about to be referenced.
my song "Strange Attractor" was a song I kind of told you guys. It is what it is. I'm not super concerned with changing it, even unless it's something super drastic. I kind of wrote this to get it done and get it out for myself. So I do think it's important to identify that, but also keep it open-minded about changes.
For sure.
We've listened to my edit, and now you've sent me back another edit.
An edit of the edit.
And that's what we're going to listen to now. So
Actually, this wasn't an edit of your edit. This was an edit of our song based on your song.
Yeah.
Right.
In fact, you'll still hear the guitar.
Yeah, maybe.
No.
You took it out.
Oh, you took it out?
How'd you do that? You're
Magic.
so fucking fancy.
Fucking Uncle Dave.
I had that
So
locked.
we're going to listen to final version of Leaving Home.
Well,
It's
you have.
going to be the saga.
Yeah, you're right. Yeah, you're right. We are.
So I haven't heard this.
That's correct. None of us have heard it. Is that a wink?
That's
There's a
another
song
episode.
about it.
All right. Yes, this is great. This is gonna be good.
Yeah. So here we go.
Let's listen to Wade's mix on this.
I'm sorry I said the things I said. I was overwhelmed and underfed. I'm haunted by the image of an old friend and the life he had that came and went. I cannot see what the universe hides. The nebulous fade and the stars take their time. I guess I'll find out if it's true or what they say. I'd like a little more time. Another 10 years, another 10 days.
That's the arrangement.
So says Patrick, so shall it be.
Oh, this is good.
So-
I think it found its home. That's where it's at.
I disagree.
You can.
I still like this song. I like this version less. And that's fine. It's not my song.
Is it strictly, are we just talking about the chorus stuff?
I really dislike that empty space after the solo.
I don't think that empty space needs to be there. I
I don't understand why you would come off the high point of the song going into the solo and the third chorus are the high points of the song, and you would leave this gap.
What can you? I am totally interrupting. I'm sorry. What can you do as far as arrangement where the music keeps going, but we're not repeating the same?
I think I did that in my edit. I made 3 edits on this song. None of them are in this version. But that one makes the least amount of sense to me. Where you go back to just the drum and bass beat after the solo before the third verse. It just, to me, it's just empty space that slows
'Cause
everything
that's-
down in at the climax.
It's
of the
never
song.
bothered me, I guess, is the issue. I don't know that
I
it's
just
never
don't. I don't
bothered
understand
him.
the argument for it.
I think the argument for that is in the lyrics. It's what the song's about. It's not a cruiser. It's not about feeling one way. So like when you listen to the song and you read the lyrics and you know what it's about, it's not about.
Are you saying I don't know what it's
I'm
about?
saying you're not paying a fucking attention. So it's
Fucking
not
adults, man. You're never gonna understand
it's
us
not,
kids.
It's not about cruising, you know. It's about stopping and reflecting on what was just said.
Okay.
So I think that's what Patrick and I have talked about a little bit and that's why some of those other earlier long pauses were in there. It's just because
The only thing to reflect on there
it's not
is the solo.
yeah.
I guess.
Why the
I don't
fuck
know.
wouldn't you? No,
Y'all been burned.
that was a pretty. That was
I concede.
that was an unintended cocky thing to say. Yes, because that's what just came before it. It's less about what's immediately before it. It's more about what the whole thing's about.
Okay. Do you think the listener is thinking about that?
No,
They are now.
I mean,
but I think it's
Part of the art, though.
well, it's transposed in the.
You can't fucking laugh at that.
It's
It's true.
okay.
it's discussed.
Ding.
No, it's discussed. It's discussed through the mood. It changes the entire mood of the song.
I think it does for
Yes,
sure. Yeah.
and that's
you saw me acting
Right.
like I was bored during that.
right.
verse.
So you want to be excited about a song about people dying, and it's not
You're
what it's
sick,
about.
man. You're sick in the
It's not what
head.
it's about. It's about like taking that breath, and so like we purposely early on planted breaths in it.
Okay.
You don't have to.
No, I don't. Like, obviously.
And
I won't.
And honestly,
Well-
and I'm not saying that like assholey. I don't have to like it. It's whatever he
right,
wanted.
right. Yeah. No,
So
that's what we've talked about.
that's what we discussed. And I originally we put them in, and I was like, hey, should we take these out because they're long? You know, it just they kind of coincidentally. I think we discussed this in one of the 15 hours previous of now, where they just kind of randomly fell there and we filled them in. And I remember I talked to you about it. I was like, do we want to pull these back? He goes, no, I don't think we want to.
I know from the very first time I listened to it, that was my comment. Like,
Yeah.
I don't understand
it was,
this.
yes.
And that's just.
But I mean,
gonna
I
be
don't
something we
know that
disagree
I don't know that it's a pop song. I think if you,
Well, I'm not making that
I
argument
know,
either.
yeah, but I think if you inject too much chorus and you take out some of those breaths, some of those gaps where it's just kind of drums and fill, then you kind of turn it into something that's less
Good.
therapeutic. You would say good. I would say therapeutic.
No, I mean, it
Because
doesn't.
it's two different.
Like I said before, it doesn't matter what
No,
I think.
but
I'm just
it's-
making my argument
Yeah,
for
and keep making
Got
it.
that right.
Keep
Yeah.
making it. Tell all your friends.
the hook of the song. I want more of it. And so that's why when I listen to this version, I feel like for me,
You're thirsty.
yeah,
You want more of it.
which isn't a bad thing. Maybe that's a good thing.
Right. But I think this isn't a song that you want necessarily to just be like,
But I don't like that space after this.
we have a banging, we have a banger of a chorus.
What do you think of that space? Do you think it needs an outro?
It's kind of like a whole intro in the middle of the song.
So what we're going to do is we're going to double it. We're going to do 4 minutes. All the music's going to go away. And we're just going to have drum fill. It's going to turn into Toad
The Wet Sprocket.
by Cream.
Oh.
It's just a guy playing drums for 4 minutes. You're
So-
welcome.
Toad's the best Super Mario 2 character.
Is he?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
He's good. They all have their
He pulls
strength.
up turnips so quickly.
Toad and Peach is
Yeah,
great.
Peach floats.
because she floats around. Yeah.
Fly with the dress.
So, yeah, I mean, there's not much more I can say.
Other than
It's
just you're wrong.
well, okay.
I'm just kidding. Patrick, what are you? Wade and I are arguing about your fucking song.
Exactly.
No
which is
shit.
funny.
And you wonder why I'm sick of talking about it.
Right, well, you're losing all your friends.
It's like your parents fighting over who's going to your fucking T-ball game.
I think it's pretty cool that we both feel this invested to argue about
that's what
it.
I was saying earlier. Like, and it's less about
In the reason, I mean, that's my argument. Like, I love that hook so
Right,
much
right.
that I
That's
feel
what I'm
like
saying.
when I listen to this version, I'm like, why? Why did you stop?
Right.
Like, and then so I've got that going on, and then I've got a section where I'm like, why are you keeping on doing this? So you're tearing me apart.
You're conflicted. You're conflicted. And probably 3/4 of the people listening are going, I don't even remember the gap.
What was Monday's episode about?
Yeah, there was a slow gap. I don't remember. It was a good song. It's all right. It's a good song.
Again, Wade's version is probably platinum selling. The one I settle on's 1 copy sold.
I don't know.
Well, you live and you learn.
I don't know. If that was the case, we'd be staring at all of his platinum plaques.
Obviously, it's a great song, or else we wouldn't be arguing.
Well,
like this.
that's what I was saying earlier.
And it comes down
it's
to
a
what version
testament
you
to the
want.
song.
Yeah.
Yes,
Are we
It
gonna
doesn't
listen to
matter
some
what I think.
Testament?
no,
No.
But
Can you name one Testament song?
I also cannot.
I cannot either.
So we could go back and forth on this all day.
You're right.
long, but
We
we've made our
have for
points.
2 episodes.
Let's wrap this up by allowing Patrick to just take us through this entire kind of little journey that you've taken on, and what you now look forward to as you do get to move
Not
on
to
to
doing
new
this
songs.
podcast, I'll tell you that.
It's a recap, kid.
Yeah. I wasn't ready for this. You're going to have to edit this out.
Oh, and what have you been up to lately?
Set my kitchen on fire. All right. So you've asked me to recap the experience. Episode 1, I think we talked enough about the writing journey and how
Part 1.
part 1, the
This episode
second
was
part.
my fucking song. Okay.
Which could have used more hook.
They could have used 4 minutes of hook.
To be honest.
Wanted that song to be 2 minutes of intro, 8 minutes of hook,
Right.
and then a never-ending
Right.
outro.
Exactly. Exactly.
The never-ending outro.
Sorry.
Oh.
This is probably why we shouldn't have whiskey while we record.
What's Brad looking at?
What was the first episode?
Not afraid.
Not afraid.
All right.
All right. Back to Patrick taking us through this journey and looking forward to the future.
The writing of this song was a really transformative process. Just the thing that I feel like I was spoiled by was how easy it was. You sat in on a session of a song that Brad and I have been working on for 6 weeks now, whereas this song,
Which was funny, if I can bust in here, because you guys were like doing stuff, and I didn't know what was going on.
yeah, it was a little
'Cause I don't
distracting having
know
you
how
there.
like
by
your
the way.
process works. I'm like,
That's not how this song was written.
and
No.
at some point you're like, oh yeah, you guys start talking like you were working on stuff. I'm like, oh, I thought they were just fucking
Wade-
noodling. I didn't know things were happening.
Wade crashed a session, and it
He
turned
sat-
into noodling.
He sat in a chair smelling like polyurethane.
So anyway, I was a little bit spoiled by how quickly this song came together, and it was. I mean, you guys have written hundreds of songs, so you know this, but sometimes you just get that one that just comes out. It just had to live, and that's what this was. It was.
So do you think that you blew it?
I did. I peaked.
You blew your load.
I peaked. Peaked after one song. Fucking Baja Men did it.
A lot of people did it.
So I'm joining that Baja Men club. But I guess without sounding too cheesy, it was transformative. It was fun to finally write and to show you guys, I guess, what I was capable of. And I'm also excited that this is just the beginning of it, I guess. The way Brad and I clicked in the studio was a lot of fun, just because it was over Christmas break, and we spent almost every waking hour for a week just hanging out and having fun and laughing. And
Just exactly what this is all about.
I'm not that into that part. I'm into making this money bank.
Well, not with this version.
Zingers keep flying in. See that zinger come in?
I'm choking on whiskey. And it was just as much fun to have you listen to it until the last probably 5 minutes of this podcast. I'm looking forward to more of it, of writing with you and writing with Brad again and finishing this fucking song that's we've been stuck on.
And I don't want you to think I don't like this song. I do like this song.
Oh, I think
And
you've made it
obviously-
clear that you don't.
No, it's just
I
it's
feel
a
like I
difference.
could like it more,
He thinks
but-
there's a better one out there. Yeah.
But Brad, you know me very well. And when I get my head set on something, when we're making
Forget
music,
about it.
I'm pretty bullish.
Well,
Forget about it.
Here's the thing. Here's the thing too, and I'm getting off on a tangent. We've got a part 2, so let's use it.
yeah.
We were talking about a song that Brad wrote a few episodes ago, and songs evolve, and maybe this song changes into something different if it's ever played live. I mean, that's the beauty of live performance, right? Is and then we can have a Leaving Home 2040.
Right.
So I could very well be wrong, still, and could
I
go.
don't think it's a matter of right and wrong.
Me
when you're
neither.
coming. It's all subjective.
But
Well, and I think it's like I was saying earlier, when it tells the artist, the guy writing the song,
that's what
when it tells you that it's
most
done,
important.
it's done.
Yeah.
If something about it doesn't feel right, it needs to be fixed.
we can always change it.
yeah,
too.
it just
doesn't
needs to be
matter.
fixed. That's it.
so
It does matter.
Takes a lot of time.
I'm saying so a lot.
That's fine.
So the other thing that's been amazing, even though I was obviously annoyed that we kept coming back to it a lot, and you guys both acknowledge that, is the fact that you guys cared this much about it. Because like I said, I expected to write a song, put it out there, you guys would be like, oh, that's fun, we'd move on, and hopefully I'd get better. But I feel like we came out with a first song that's something that I could be proud of, not
First
just
2-part episode.
yeah.
This was something that like I was really excited once it started coming together, which we probably talked about earlier, but once like the pieces started flying in and then they just started like coming, right?
Well,
Right.
I
And
said
we were
that
just
the same thing when I started mixing this. Like I
Yeah.
got so into it.
And
I
I-
was so
and I-
excited.
yeah.
And one
which-
thing I have thought a lot about this song is I'm glad it sounds so different from stuff the two of you write.
Yeah.
The stuff that you write solo and the stuff that you write
speaks
together.
that speaks to you.
Right.
You know,
So
like
I feel like I'm bringing something unique.
you absolutely are. This ain't something I would have sit down and wrote.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I would have never put
That's
that.
because you write good music.
No, I'd have never put it together on my own, and I was happy to have like all of this groundwork laid out that I could just kind of throw stuff at, and really, you know what was fun about that for me is the burden wasn't on me.
Right.
Right.
I could just go, oh, this is fucking cool. I put it on there and go, you like this? And you go, yeah, no, and then we pull
Well,
it, take
I
it
think
away.
it was really cool for you guys to do that together because, like you said, like Brad, you and I, had we written this song,
Been totally different.
totally different. We
It would
wouldn't.
have been all riff.
And outro. That riff would just be the outro.
The only dynamics for this song would have been like the riff would get louder and then quieter.
But I'm saying, like, you and I are very comfortable writing songs together. Not to say that you guys weren't comfortable doing it together,
Right.
but you were both out of
It was all
your
new.
element.
Right.
It's all brand new.
Right.
what you're used to doing. So
Yeah.
I think that's really
And
cool.
I-
and I look forward to
Yeah,
being
you
able to have
guys
that
you
same
guys need to do
opportunity.
that because working with him is completely different than working
Oh
with
yeah,
you.
you will murder me, but
And-
we'll make a good product.
No, but working with him is going to be, you'll see, as tight as Wade and I are, it's going to be completely different
Yeah.
than working with just
Totally.
me. So
So,
And then we all have to do one together too.
Right.
yeah,
Really fun.
there will be lots of those coming.
Sweatpants,
Don't worry, listeners.
sweatpants and headbands. That one's coming.
Dave, we need to borrow your sweatpants.
Oh yeah, we'll have to get an extra pair.
Oh shit!
You only got 2.
We might want to wash this.
Wow, it's always in the dirty clothes basket.
Other takeaways from this process, other than confidence building and the fact that we've just done a 2-part episode on a psychotherapy session for me.
Right.
It does feel very safe to write around you guys, which is a weird thing to say, I know, but yeah, you guys have been very accepting of the stuff I've thrown out.
Well, like you said, I don't play my music for a lot of people for the same reason you probably don't.
Mm-hmm.
It's like an exposure. It's a vulnerability, and you don't want to expose yourself. You know, you're a bright, accomplished person, professionally and otherwise. You don't want to expose yourself with this weakness that
Right.
could be a bad song.
And that's the other thing, speaking of my professional life, is when I was earning my last degree, they talk about the process all the time. And you want to beat people in the head for saying, respect the process.
Right, yeah.
This was exactly the same. It
Right.
was, I have the material there. I need somebody to push back.
And be included in
Yeah.
the process.
So I guess that's it. I think those are my big takeaways. So thank you. And
Well,
thank you,
badass.
listeners.
Hey, why don't you take us out?
So Instagram. Fuck.
It's www.
So that
STA.
So that reps. Fuck this.
And you just did so great.
Yeah.
This wraps up our first 2-part episode. So we want to thank you again for listening. We're going to be here doing this until we're down to 1 listener. Like and subscribe to our social media.
Mash it.
Mash it like Alan Alda.
And do you, radar?
We keep getting older.
But seriously, leave us a review on iTunes. Those are the reviews that matter most. They help us trend. They help us chart. They help us get noticed. Spread the word to your mom. Spread the word to grandma. Grandma would love this show.
Anybody that loves music.
We're putting out stuff on Instagram for you a couple times a week, so make sure you check us out at Belonging Songs. We're also on YouTube. We're on Spotify if you want to listen to Brad and Wade and now my stuff. We got Uzi Royal, Brad, and we got Harnol Slin. Want to spell it?
HARNOLSLIN.
And we've got me to be determined.
Still working on that.
Pat P Von V.
P Von P.
P Von P.
So anyway, thanks again. We'll see you next week for another episode.
Out with high fives.
All right. Boom, done. Next.